Welcome to the She Wins podcast. Today I have two people that I have known for over a decade, Dr. Brooke Mills and Dr. Stephanie Ryan. They are mother-daughter team. Stephanie was Miss New Hampshire back in 1995, and Brooke is the current Miss New Hampshire heading towards Miss America. We tackle a lot of different things. Some of the challenges that Brooke has faced in her preparation for Miss America over the past 10 years, how the mother-daughter team works together, and so many other wonderful things. I know that you will be truly blessed by watching. Welcome, ladies. I'm so excited to have you on my podcast.
Thank you for having us. We're so excited.
Okay, so just starting, I want you to just introduce yourselves. So I don't care who goes first.
Okay, you go first. Okay, my name is Dr. Brooke Mills. I am a recent graduate from Sherman College of Chiropractic, where I became a chiropractor just like my mom. And so it's been such a pleasure and an honor to be able to grow up throughout this profession, as well as continue to succeed through the Miss America organization and the Miss America opportunity. I received about $71,000 in cash scholarships and over $90,000 in scholarship assistance because of this opportunity. And it's just been such an incredible experience these past handful of decades to be able to watch myself grow and to be able to be the role model that I had when I was younger, growing up through this program.
So I am Dr. Stephanie Ryan. I am Brooke's mom, also a chiropractor. I've been practicing for 23 years here in New Hampshire, and I was Miss New Hampshire back in 1995, which is crazy.
Yes.
To see my daughter now competing at Miss America when I was there for the 75th anniversary of Miss America Pageant. And I did pay for my entire college education through the Miss America program.
That's awesome. And fun fact, I was in attendance when you competed for Miss America, Stephanie. It's the first time that I ever went to watch Miss America was that particular competition. So who would have thunk that we would be fast friends decades later? So incredibly cool. I'm the whole point of my podcast is really celebrating winning, but then also defining what winning actually means. And I think you guys have been competitive in life. Obviously, you both are chiropractors. You both have served as Miss New Hampshire or currently serving, competed at the national level. So incredibly exciting. But I kind of want to know from each of you, what's your definition of winning? If you could define it for yourself, what would it be?
I'll let you go first.
Okay, so I was thinking about winning, and to me, it's like being victorious over anything in life. If you had asked me in my teens and 20s, winning would have been, yes, winning. Like there's a competition and I came out on top. And then later 20s into my 30s, winning became about personal victories, about professional victories. In my 40s, winning is going to TJ Maxx and finding a great deal. Like
that's a win.
Right? It's a win. And so I think as you age, it becomes potentially less about competition for me, and more about looking for those victories in life.
Like those small wins matter.
Yeah.
Okay, Brooke.
I like it. I think coming from a little bit still younger, I'm 24 years old, headed into Miss America this upcoming January. I still have a little bit of that competition mindset. And so coming out and exceeding my goals is successful and is winning to me. I love hearing little teens who are, entering the teen competition in their state and they have a goal of making top 10. And if that's your goal, that would be winning in my mind, is being able to meet and fulfill that goal and feeling purposeful in your preparation and who you are as a person. But I also think that winning for me is understanding that there are so many other layers, that everything happens for a reason. So as long as I can understand why something happened for said reason, I feel like I've won. If it's benefited me in any sort of way, I have to look at it through this positive mindset and this positive lens that I've won something out of whatever it is.
Well, neither one of you won on your first try, right? As far as locals though.
No, locals.
Not technically.
I won on my first try at Miss New Hampshire, but it was after I had lost every single local that year.
Well, obviously you won one of them, right? The last one?
Yeah, the second to last one.
So
Yeah,
how many did you do? How many locals?
11. I lost 11 locals and
Now,
then won.
one thing that I think is so interesting. So I think a lot of girls would give up by then. I think a lot of girls, they go in. And so for those who are listening or watching and you don't know anything about the Miss America organization or don't understand what a local is, it's like a preliminary competition. You have to win that in order to advance to state. And it can be pretty taxing. It's a lot. You have to go in, compete. You compete with other people, and then you place or you don't, or you win or you don't, or whatever. And you can decide whether you want to continue. So for you to do it 11 times
It was
is a
like
lot.
preparation for the state pageant
It,
because I was doing a mock pageant almost every weekend. And that pageant right before I won, there were only 4 contestants. Like there were 4 of us and I still didn't win. And so I was getting pretty down at that point.
so what was just curious, what was it, do you think, that went from, what did you change or do that took you from competing and losing for, 10 times in a row to winning the state competition?
I think that when I showed up at the state pageant, I had the knowing, which apparently was wrong, but there was no way I was going to win. So I just went to have fun. And my goal was to learn from those really experienced veterans, the front runners. I watched everything they did. I watched their makeup. I watched their wardrobe. I was like, okay, I'm taking notes for next year. And, maybe in 5 years, maybe it could be me as Miss New Hampshire. Mm-hmm. And she had the 5-year run.
Oh, Brooke, tell us about. I've been there for the whole 5-year run.
You have been there.
So we met. Oh wait, you were like 12.
I was in the Teens in Training program at when it was Outstanding Teen in Orlando, Florida. I hadn't quite aged into the teen competition yet, but I was preparing to compete for my very first year in New Hampshire at the state level. And that's when I met you. I got your book and got introduced to you and the concept of with winning in mind and all of the tactics and the skills to be able to understand how to mentally prepare for competitions like this. So I've been very fortunate to have your help and your understanding and outlook on everything, not only just pageants, but for the past 10 years.
Okay, so share your journey because it's very different from your mom's.
So my journey in starting in the teen program, I started competing when I was 13 years old, and I placed at the state level every single year, all except for my last year. One of the years I was first runner-up to our Allie Nault, who went on to win Miss America's Outstanding Teen, which was awesome to be able to bring home for the Granite State in New Hampshire, but I was never able to fulfill that dream of being a teen state title holder. And so I then went right on to competing for Miss New Hampshire. I won my first local right off the bat and placed in top 5 at Miss New Hampshire. And after that, I did have a really long struggle with winning a local. I went through a lot after placing top 5 at Miss New Hampshire. Really struggled with that. Finally got my ticket to Miss New Hampshire again placed in the top 5. Fast forward, I did that 4 times and finally won on my 5th try.
For each of you, what is the biggest piece of advice that you've received that you think has made the biggest impact on your life or on your journey?
Everything happens for a reason for me. I obviously went through graduate school during some of these times that I was competing for Miss New Hampshire or still competing within the Miss America opportunity. And I couldn't have imagined really balancing graduate school and being a title holder or taking a break off of graduate school would have been really difficult and challenging, even though in the moment and in the time I felt like I was ready to juggle all of the balls and I was capable to do it and fulfill that role to the best of my ability. But I know now, and I know having won just before I graduated from Sherman College of Chiropractic, that this was the best time for me to be able to serve in this capacity. And I'm excited and ecstatic and honored to be the first Miss New Hampshire to serve as a doctor and walk across the Miss America stage as a doctor.
So cool. Okay, Stephanie, your turn.
So it's cliche, but again, everything happens for a reason. And it was my dad that gave that advice. So her grandfather, and we heard it from him a lot. And I think the magic of that advice is to look at the circumstances and actively gain what to be grateful for or to see the purpose in it. And I think that makes you be at peace with how things turned out, even if things didn't turn out the way you expected or wanted. So for me, it worked out for the best that I won at 18 and went to Miss America and didn't know anything and had blue eyeshadow all over my eyes. And, I showed up and I was like, Texas was like, and I'm like, oh, okay. I'm from New Hampshire. So it wasn't in the cards for me to be Miss America, clearly, but I had a full ride scholarship to chiropractic college and I was going to be a Latin teacher. And because of the scholarship that I gained at age 18, I was able to switch gears, become a chiropractor, have an awesome life serving people through chiropractic, and had Brooke while I was in chiropractic college. So it was all meant to be. So yeah, I think as cliche as it is, it's what brings me joy is knowing that things are working out the way they're supposed to.
So I did this mental mastery for pageantry program, which Brooke has done multiple times, I think, with me. And we had Monique Evans, and Monique would say, you can't be stressed while you're blessed. And I love that. I love that concept because it's like I can't feel stressed if I'm focused on how blessed I am or the things that are blessings for me. And I feel like that's what you're talking about. It hasn't always been easy for either one of you. And so, Brooke, one of my, I think, I wouldn't say favorite stories because I think it's pretty tragic, but just what you've had to overcome and push through in the midst of competing, I think is pretty eye-opening for people. I think a lot of times people see girls with a crown and a sash and they think, oh, they must just have it all together, but they've never had to work a day in their life or had any pain or struggle whatsoever. But tell us a little bit about what you've been through and maybe even the process of the platform side of competition and what that's been like for you.
Absolutely. It's definitely something that as Miss New Hampshire, I feel like I've taken on my back to make sure I'm starting to break down those stereotypes of thinking that just because I'm wearing a crown and sash and I'm representing the state of New Hampshire doesn't mean that I haven't gone through hardships. So when I first started competing in this organization, I read below grade level until 8th grade. And this was because of a lot of home trauma. My dad suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder and didn't have the capabilities to be a good father. And so at a time that I was really supposed to be learning how to read and grow and establish learning tactics, I was hiding and protecting my little sister and I. So I became passionate about sharing the love for literacy with our youth at a young age and how that can change the trajectory of their life. But when I was 14 years old, I was in my mandatory gym class and I went to go pick up a ball and a boy went to go kick that same ball and ended up kicking the left side of my face, knocking me unconscious. I was a competitive dancer. I had danced pretty much all my life. I had grown to love the stage because of the being thrown into dance classes, and those recitals and dance competitions. And that was obviously my talent in the Miss New Hampshire's teen program. And I sustained a really severe concussion. I lost about 5 years of memory. I lost 3 months of school. I continued to struggle with light sensitivity, nausea, word recall issues. I was never able to return to dance class from the jumping, the fluorescent lights, the turning. I wasn't able to spot. I had lost all of that technique and my life was pretty much just flipped upside down. And so in that concept of everything happens for a reason, I took this opportunity and this different path that was provided for me to be able to give back to other young individuals like myself that had sustained a concussion. So it started as a little blog. I created blog posts about what it's like to navigate life post-concussion as a 14, 15-year-old. And it turned into a organization called Lessen the Impact, where I was able to partner with the Brain Injury Association of New Hampshire and tour the state of New Hampshire as a peer-to-peer lecturer. So speaking to students about why they need to take concussions seriously, why we need to support one another because concussions are an invisible injury and you never know what somebody's going through. After I was bullied from having to wear sunglasses in school, taking so much time off, not being able to do homework, and it really just changed my life. And I know that I looked different than the rest of the students. And so that had navigated and led me down this whole road of being an advocate for concussion awareness. I've been able to be on Capitol Hill and speak to our senators and congressmen and women about supporting bills that support brain injury survivors and concussion survivors, and continue to advocate for National Concussion Awareness Day, which is the third Friday of every September, which I founded in 2016.
It's so cool that you were able to take something that could have been so difficult and you were able to bring purpose to it.
I think that you have to. It's how I was able to heal and give myself purpose and this accident purpose in my life, so that I came out feeling victorious or feeling like I won in that situation.
So Stephanie, what was it like for you as her mom as she's going through this? What would your advice be to other moms who are going through difficult times with their kids? Any thoughts?
Be there for them, be what they need in that moment, because by the day that changed what she needed from me. And then just be an advocate, especially if it's an illness or an injury where you're in the medical system. Don't take no for an answer, so to speak. It's almost like sales calls, right? You just keep going, keep persevering for someone that can help, for solutions that do help, even if you have to go outside the box.
Now, I noticed that going into Miss America, I didn't just notice this, you and I talked about it, but you shifted gears a little bit. So you still talk about brain health, but you've kind of changed your platform, so to speak. So can you tell us how that change happened and what you're advocating for if you were to be Miss America?
Yes. Well, I suffered that brain injury in March of 2014. So we're coming up on 10 years this upcoming March. And so I'm very well versed in talking about concussions and why we need to have our kids take them seriously, and the role of what brain health looks like afterwards and what whole body wellness looks like. But after going through graduate school and understanding even further the difficulties and the challenges that my father went through in his life, the poor health decisions and health choices that he made, I felt really empowered to be able to expand the vision of concussions into brain health, and being able to talk to children about not only concussions and invisible injuries, but mental health and how the foods that we fuel our body with to change our mental health as well. The role of moving your body and releasing dopamine, how that improves our brain health as well. And so I talk about living clean and all of these different pillars of what I define health as through Choose Health, which is an organization and a school program that I'm able to reach out to students and get them this necessary information so that they can feel empowered to make better health choices.
Stephanie, what do you think has been Brooke's maybe superpower, and what is your superpower?
Oh, if I had to speculate on Brooke's superpower, I would say like this burning love in her heart for humanity, especially kids. Like this girl glows around kids of any ages. Yeah.
Aw, that's so sweet.
I totally agree. Yeah. Thanks.
So, okay, wait, then let's let Brooke tell us what her mom's superpower is then.
No pressure.
Yeah.
I think your power is the ability to communicate and relate to other individuals, no matter where they're coming from, what they're struggling with, what they're dealing with. You always have this incredible ability to match them and elevate other people's energy and vibration and just life in general. Thanks.
Okay, I just want to hang out with both of you because I need both of that in my life for good, forever, every day. Awesome. If you could give someone advice, whether it's going into chiropractic, whether it's starting their own business, whether it's competing in pageant, like what kind of advice would you want to give to other people as they're pursuing their own personal goals?
Figure out what you want your life to look like. be really clear in what you want and then move towards that.
I like that. I always have this vision of knowing what you want and setting goals in that direction. I'm a very goal-driven, action step type person. And so when I've made up my mind of something that I want or something that I want to do or a place that I want to serve, anything, I have to use that power of visualization and goal setting. And so I like to write down really massive, big goals that are overarching. Hopefully I get them done in the next 10 years and break them down into smaller goals so that I feel accomplished and that I'm doing things and I'm setting the tone of my life in the right direction, in the direction that I want to do. It keeps me accountable. And I feel sometimes, especially in the younger generations, I'm a Gen Z, I think. I don't know, I'm at that cusp, I'm at 99. But I think a lot of times life can feel a little bit stuck in the motion and maybe mundane. Living on social media doesn't feel like things have traction the way they used to. I'm 24 years old and gosh darn, it's hard to buy a house these days. It's not like what it was, 50 years ago. And so I think setting goals keeps myself accountable and keeps me working towards something, even though my outside surroundings might not feel or look much different.
So I've known both of you for, oh gosh, a decade.
Over 10 years now.
A decade. Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm. Over a decade.
Okay, why have y'all kept in touch with me? Like, what is it that keeps you coming back and continuing to work? And is there anything that you've learned, even for me, that's been valuable that you think other people might need to know? I mean, I'm just cool. That's why.
But for me, what I see is that you challenge Brooke to be clear in what she wants and her why. Mm-hmm. And that you end up being another person at her personal boardroom. Like you're another wise voice that becomes a sounding board. Mm-hmm. And then you also offer knowledge and life experience in a loving way that maybe is easier for her to hear from you than me, even though we might both be on the same page.
A lot of times I do tell Brooke exactly what you want her to know. I mean, it's the same thing, but she receives it different from
yeah, it's so true. Sometimes it happens. I'm so guilty. For me, when I was first starting working with you and I was 13 years old and I was understanding all of the subconscious and the conscious and how we can make the preparation and preparedness all work together cohesively, it was a good starting point for me to be able to build upon myself. And I really thought of you as just helping me win a pageant. I'm so guilty of doing that in the beginning, making sure that I was able to speak about myself and speak highly and be fluent and prepare before and after the competition and visualize what I want and go after these goals. But it wasn't until I really started competing into the Miss organization. So around 17, 18, 19 years old, I started to realize that the skills and the assets that you've provided for me to be able to utilize in my toolbox, I was utilizing those throughout school. I was utilizing all of these things for different areas of my life. And it wasn't until I was starting to talk to more peers or be out in college and talk to other people that people my age didn't think through problems the way that I did. And it's because of the understanding I had of myself and the mental image and the brain, the power of the brain that I started learning when I was 13 years old. So now it's more so things that I'm able to, tell my partner about or tell my peers or start to educate younger girls who are in this program on these little tips and tricks on how to prepare themselves the best, which is honestly just preparing them for life.
Now, y'all have a podcast together.
We do.
Yeah. What is that? What is that like? And how can we listen to that?
So the podcast is Half Hour to Health. It actually evolved from my radio show. I've been doing a radio show on an FM station up here since 2008. And it has a lot to do with chiropractic, but also how we take care of our body. The choices that we make, it is all about empowering people to be healthier. And so now we're just a podcast and she's my co-host.
I love this so much. Okay, so since y'all do the half hour for health, give me your favorite tip to lead a healthy lifestyle. Just one. Like you gotta nail it down to one.
Like just one. Do we each get to pick one?
You each get one. Yes.
Can we have 3?
Go for it. Go for it. Sure.
All right, sleep. You need good quality sleep and you need enough of it.
Yeah.
And I feel like every age category is guilty of that one. Mm-hmm. So just, it's free.
It's free. Take it. Okay. I love that.
And at a reasonable time, shut your phones off, shut your laptops off, shut your TV off an hour before bed, really unwind and get good quality sleep. Don't drink alcohol before bed. Don't drink sugary drinks before bed. Just really honor your body for sleep. That's my first one.
It's really powerful and so underestimated, I think, in my world. But I would also say fueling your body well, making sure that you're eating a well-balanced diet with a lot of good fats, a lot of vegetables and fiber, and of course protein. And then if you haven't ever looked at the Dirty Dozen or the clean 15, look at what foods you should be buying organic, because we don't have the best protocols for growing, producing crops and whatnot here in the United States. Unfortunately, it can be a little toxic. So understand what foods work for you and what fueling your body means for you. I'm personally allergic to gluten, and so some nice homemade sourdough bread is never going to be good fuel for me, but it might be, for somebody else. So understand what your body relates to best and fuel it well.
Okay. Also exercise every single day. Move your body every single day. Hydrate about half your body weight in ounces. So if you weigh 100 pounds, 50 ounces of water. If you weigh 200 pounds, that's 100 ounces of water. Quick math. And then we're chiropractors, so we have to say, get your spine checked, get adjusted.
Okay, awesome. So we need water. We need really good food. We need to move our bodies. We need to get that adjustment, and we better sleep. Okay.
Yeah.
So we got 5.
Talking about is mental management.
All of these things that we just said, affect your mental health and your mental well-being and your whole body being. So I think they go so hand in hand in them. I think these days we want to think that there's one solution to big problems, and oftentimes there's not. There's a lifestyle change that needs to be happening.
Well, what's
a mental health crisis where you're not making good decisions, you're probably not going to make good health decisions either. So one of the first things to fall off, I think, is exercise and eating healthy.
Oh, for sure. Because you're going to go for what you're craving, and you're going to sit and eat it probably. So, or at least that's what happens to me. So I think about this too. Habits can be changed. And a lot of times I think people feel like they're stuck. I'm stuck. This is who I've become. This is who I am. Can't change who I am. Well, I'm here to tell you I've spent, a long time, since 2006, helping people change who they are. And it takes a decision. You decide you want to change it. You actively work towards changing the imprints in your brain in order to become who you want to become. And you ladies have the formula, I feel like, through your podcast probably, to give people ideas on things that they can start to move toward while they're heading towards those big goals and big dreams. Okay, Stephanie, though, I'm a business owner now, and I started my own business last year. I used to work for my dad, so I didn't have to do all of that. Now I got to do it. It's all on me. So just because I'm sure there's an entrepreneur listening, and I'm so curious your advice, what's your advice on how to have a successful female-owned and run business, or maybe empire? Because I feel like you have an empire over there somewhere.
Well, I don't know that it's necessarily different female versus male. I think it takes discipline, whether you're a girl or a guy. I think it takes a vision, like knowing what you want to create. And then just the confidence in yourself to know that you can make it happen. I think my best piece of advice would be to set some time aside first thing in the morning before your family gets up. Maybe this is especially as a female, because we tend to have that role of cooking and getting the kids out and packing the lunches and like taking care of that morning routine, to just set your alarm 30 minutes early, journal, meditate, stretch, prepare for your day ahead of when your day runs away from you.
I think that's true. The day does run away from you. If you wake up at the same time everybody else does, the day goes faster. When the kids are awake, the day goes faster.
Yes.
Or
How much you can pack in that 30 minutes,
mm-hmm.
It's powerful.
That's when I listen to things. So first thing in the morning is when I either read or I listen to something that's going to empower me or help me grow or help me like learn something that I know I need to learn based on whatever's going on in my life. So it's my quiet time, or maybe it's, crack open the Bible, learn something that I need to know for the day. And it's so helpful to do that first thing in the morning. So, and it's not to check it off the box. It's to start the day well.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
There's something accomplished. It's like making your bed in the morning. That whole like accomplishment, right first thing in the morning, it leads me down a path of making better decisions all day and feeling better about who I am as a person because I accomplished something this morning.
I think I need to do that. My bed. Oh, y'all, if I could make it, I need to do that. That'd be great.
Something else that I would also add, and maybe Brooke hasn't gotten to this point yet, but having 3 locations at the chiropractic office and a lot of other pots on the fire, right? A lot of other moving parts, is the idea of decision fatigue. Mm-hmm. So all of the little decisions, like you can only make so many decisions in a day. Mm-hmm. So if you can look in your life where you can eliminate the day-to-day mundane decisions and get into routine so that you have more mental capacity for making the decisions at work.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah, it's kind of silly, but I've heard that presidents have had the same menu 7 days a week, like they set it, and that way they don't have to decide what they're eating. Clothing, they set out the same suit, same tie routine. Like it's one less decision. So in delegating people that can make decisions for you as well.
I like that. Okay, so Miss America. Miss America is coming. Are you ready for it, Brooke?
I'm so ready. I have never, ever been more ready. And I'm beyond excited to be there and experience it and to grow and to just feel that energy.
So assuming that it's going to be on TV, I don't think we've given confirmation on exactly what's happening with that. But let's make an assumption that maybe people could watch it. Why should they?
Why should they? I think you're going to learn so much, not only about each and every state, but how diverse women these days are and how accomplished the women within the Miss America organization can be and are. I'm a doctor of chiropractic. We have scientists. We have people who train horses. We have fantastic opera singers that are classically incredibly trained, and that's their goal and passion and purpose in life. And so I think it's so empowering to watch other women succeed and thrive and show their best self and all of their hard work. And so I think just watching all of this come to accumulation and watching it come to fruition is so cool for each and every one of us. And we want you to be along with that journey as well.
When was the last time Miss New Hampshire won Miss America?
We have never won Miss America. I'm the 77th Miss New Hampshire. We're going on, I think, 103 years of the Miss America organization. So we've had 103 Miss Americas. Never been New Hampshire.
We had a 4th runner-up once.
Just one time.
In the 1960s.
Is that the only time there's been a top 5?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had one top 5.
What?
2 top 10s?
Yeah, maybe 2 or 3.
Maybe 3.
I can name 2.
Yeah, I can only name 2.
Well, having known you as long as I've known you, I know that you have what it takes. I'm never going to predict a result. I do know other people participating. I love everybody. But I know that you have what it takes. And I know that you have trained in a different way than maybe past Miss New Hampshires have because of the resources that you have. You also have been mentored well. While you might not always listen to your mother, you definitely You definitely have been mentored very, very well by her and all of the people that you've really been exposed to throughout your entire journey. And so I'm excited not only to follow along and to continue to be part of the process, but also to be there to watch it happen. So I'm so incredibly grateful. Any last minute thoughts or things that you want to make sure that the audience knows before we?
I think Miss America is the original reality show.
Oh.
Like, we used to gather in our living room, right? Mom and dad and the popcorn, and we'd sit and we'd watch. And now we've got reality shows and American Idols and, you know, pick the winner, and it goes on for weeks and weeks and weeks. But now you get one night to see who's going to win.
I think one of the things that people need to understand about the Miss America organization or pageantry in general, whenever you're at this level, is that when you win, it's not like any other sport. In most sports, you win a national competition and you get a medal. You might get a little bit of fanfare. Maybe you do a couple of interviews, but your life pretty much continues along the same as it was before. Unless you make like an Olympic team. Well, then that's still just an international competition and life pretty much continues as it was. But in pageantry, you win Miss America, your whole life changes.
Absolutely.
You don't just win a crown and a sash and waving opportunities and a couple of parades. You have a full-time position and you are an ambassador for an organization and also an ambassador for the American Heart Association. And I think a lot of people don't realize the intensity and what that takes. So as you're preparing, you're not just preparing for the phases of competition. You're preparing in order to serve in a professional capacity for a national organization. And
Right.
that is so different from any other type of competition. So for those who are listening, watching, and have never really considered pageantry as an option for their children, for themselves, highly recommend look into it.
Highly recommend.
Absolutely.
Prepares you for life.
It really does. It's an interview for a job that's a year long, and there's a handful of judges that get to select that person that they feel like is the best representation of the women across America right now, and to be able to represent their organization and be the face and the brand of the Miss America organization. So it's an incredible opportunity. I'm so grateful. And obviously, if you haven't thought about getting scholarships and helping pay for college through competing and changing your life and gaining interview skills and confidence and the ability to perform and so on and so forth, then definitely reconsider or watch and then reconsider.
If people want to follow either one of you on social media or online, like how do they reach you?
My professional account as Miss New Hampshire for the next 6 months, or maybe as Miss America for the next year, is you can find it at Miss America NH. That's both on Facebook and on Instagram and TikTok and Twitter. You can find your state as well at Miss America, whatever the state is. So Texas, TX. And then on Instagram, my personal things are Dr. Brooke Mills.
You can find me over at Crossroads Chiropractic here in New Hampshire, and also our podcast, Half Hour to Health.
Perfect. Thank you, ladies, so much for being with me. I have just been so honored to be part of your journey, Brooke, and also to gain a friendship with your mom, because her and we get along really, really well. We're going to be friends for life.
You're an amazing person. Thanks for being in our life.
You're welcome. Thank you all so much for watching. Like this episode. If you do, share it with a friend. If you're not a Patreon member, please join our Patreon membership. I'm going to pick the brains of both Brooke and Stephanie, and we're going to learn so much more. So have a blessed rest of your day.